Hello and welcome to Portland Sports Beat. I'm your host, Sarah Bagby.
And I'm Ashley Williams.
Today is a special edition. We're covering the Les Schwab Invitational. And actually, Ashley was really there for the whole thing. So Ashley, I'm going to let you kind of take this over. Tell us, what is the Invitational? What is this tournament in the first place?
Well, it was the 19th annual Les Schwab Invite, and it's always at Liberty High School. It was on December 27th through the 30th. So if you missed out, no worries. We have you covered on here. We'll get you all caught up on that. But basically, we had 16 teams, 13 were local teams, 3 were not so local, just national teams, and they played a total of 32 games. Wow. It was double elimination, so I mean, you couldn't just lose and go home. There was a consolation bracket, so very fun, some new teams, some old teams, and just really good overall competition.
Sounds great. And so you stayed for the whole thing. You're seeing the top teams in the nation play here, and it's kind of interesting how it used to be just pro teams and college, but now high school is getting coverage, which is kind of what the Portland Sports Beat is about. We are covering high school teams at the highest level here, so we're really glad to have you there, Ashley. Tell us more. You do have clips and things to show us. Why don't you start it out for us?
Alrighty, let's go ahead and roll the top 5 teams and how they placed. So we have in 5th place Rainier Beach. They actually won the 2013 LSI tournament, but fell short, got 5th place this time. They are three-time state champions and have arguably the best player out of Washington this year. And we'll talk about him a little bit later.
So here we also have like the best top competitors here. How did they recognize them? Did they actually call them out and recognize them at the end of the tournament or throughout?
Well, you know, all throughout, there's a lot of different awards that, you know, people got. There was a slam dunk contest. That was exciting, all the different things. But this team right here, they're not really new to winning and having a lot of NBA players come out of their high school. Their head coach, Coach Bethea, he's actually won 7 state champions. So he has a lot of rings for him. And that was just great to watch them play. Here in 4th place, we have Central Catholic. Always good to see, you know, local teams placing high up in tournaments like this. I was very surprised with this team. I hadn't seen them play first, but I did watch them, and they just hustle. Have a lot of abilities. They have shooters. They have guys who goes inside, and it didn't matter what team they were playing, whether it be the first, you know, the #1 team in the nation, and they just went after it. It was really fun to see that and for them to compete.
Okay, and so am I hearing that there's 5th place, 4th place, all the way down? They cover. It's not just a 3rd place anymore.
Nope. It's, you know, everyone places in the tournament, but highlighted is just really the 1st and through the 5th. This right here is Wheeler High School. They got 3rd place. They are from Marietta, Georgia. Their coach was very exciting to watch. It seemed like every single time they played, they were telling him to get back into his coach's box. So it was kind of funny to, you know, watch him play. A lot of energy. I did get a chance to speak with him, and he was not very happy with the refereeing that was going on in these games. And that's just different because in Georgia, they actually do have a shot clock, and we don't have that here in Oregon. So it changed the speed of the game a whole lot.
Okay, explain the shot clock for those who don't understand the time part of that.
It's just a clock that you can't hold onto the ball for one possession.
Okay.
So, and right here is Westland High School. They actually got 2nd place, and rightfully owned. They did a great job in the whole tournament themselves. They are back-to-back state champions, so I think we might see them a little bit further in the season. They have very strong guards. They're Peyton Pritchard. He is the #1 point guard in the West Coast right now, and it definitely showed. I mean, their team, they have strong guards with shooting and going inside, but even if they miss that 3-point shot, they're not scared to just put it back up. See right there. I mean, It was just very obvious. And #1, Monteverde Academy from Florida.
Of course. Now, they're top, period. They're well known, aren't they?
Yes. They are the #1 team in the nation 2 times. So they're going for that three-peat this year. They have the #1 player in the nation, which is really easy to build up on a good roster around that, but they still, you know, they hold themselves to a good standard, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But they hold themselves to a certain standard where even if they're beating teams by 20, they still think that they're just not doing enough. So they were very fun to watch.
It sounds like, you know, they're expected to win or do well at this. Were there any upsets or any underdogs that surprised people at this tournament?
I think not necessarily with like winning or losing, but there was some standouts that were not expected at all, and it was just awesome to see everyone come out and compete.
It also seems like a great place for scouts and colleges to come see, you know, the best players in the country. And so I'm sure they would call out some of the best players. How would they do that? Do they hand out, you know, ribbons at the end, or how did it work?
Well, of course, first and second place, they get a trophy because, I mean, that's obvious at those big tournaments. You have to get something when you win. But there is an all-tournament team. So let me just explain that really quick. All-tournament team is kind of similar to an all-state team or in conference, or, you know, first team all-metro, kind of something like that. So they did that. And on that team, we had Ben Simmons from Monteverde, Florida, Dejounte Murray from Rainier Beach, Jaelyn Brown from Wheeler, Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Mathis, both from Westland High School, and Jazz Johnson from Lake Oswego. Wow.
Okay. So I heard Seattle, because that's the Mount Rainier Beach. Beach. And then a lot of local teams there, Portland. I'm not going to ignore the LO, because there was a little drama over the LO, and I know that you were part of it, so I just want to, not part of the drama. You didn't cause drama at the tournament. Not there. But if you can at least speak to what happened with the LO coach just mentioned, was it such a big deal? I mean, we saw it all over the place on the news.
It seems as if the whole Lake Oswego coach, Mark Schaaf, that's been an ongoing type thing, and, you know, it's just been building throughout the years, and he has been their coach for over 18 years, so it is very tough and sticky situation to get involved in. But there was an altercation during the Monteverde Lake Oswego game at a timeout that was caught on camera, and that is being further investigated. And there's some other outlets who have done a lot of deep digging in that, but we're going to save that for next show.
Okay, yeah.
Just to get some more into it, because we are local and we do have the opportunity to dig more into that.
Okay, sounds like a great idea. So what else? We also have the 3 players from the tournament. I want to find out who you think are the top, because you know basketball and you've been watching these games, and you don't just watch these tournaments, you watch high school basketball everywhere. Who do you think are the top players there? Anyone we should be watching?
Well, there is tons of top players that stood out to me, but you know, right now, just because this is our, you know, kind of wrap-up show for the Les Schwab Invite, and I kind of just want to highlight 3 top players that I actually got to speak with, and I have those interviews and some highlights. Do you think that game was going to be half as close as it was?
Definitely. You know, every team comes out and plays like it's their last game, because, you know, Monteverde is ranked #1, so it's one of those games where everyone comes up against us and goes hard.
How crucial are free throws to you now in your mind?
They're definitely crucial. I know I missed a lot early in the game. If I would have hit them, probably would have been a different story, but towards the end we made them, and I think that was the difference.
They really pressured up on defense, you know, early on, so I mean, it was kind of expected. How do you think you guys kind of got out of that and maintained your lead?
Just being composed. I know a lot of guys were kind of nervous at the start because, you know, they got the lead back, but just talking through it and just pushing the ball.
Are you disappointed at all you're not going to be meeting Wheeler again?
Definitely, but, you know, we're on to the next game, so we're just ready to play the next team.
What do you think you need to revamp on for, you know, working for this next game?
Everything. We haven't played well once we've been here, so I think every game's been kind of on and off. We've had spurts of good game, but we haven't played one game where we've been, you know, dominating.
I'm feeling good. It's been a long tournament. We had a big tournament before. I'm just proud of my guys for coming out and executing, and I'm looking forward down the line in the tournament to win it all.
There's a lot of controlled chaos in your defense and offense, but, you know, sometimes it kind of gets the best of you. What are some things that you think can clean that up for you guys?
We just try to stay aggressive. I told my guys we're going to make mistakes. We're a young team, but it's okay. If you're playing hard, you can make up for it. Just stay aggressive and everything will play out.
There's a lot of tension going around with the officiating on both ends, and there's a lot of frustration. What were some things that were just really getting to you on that you couldn't control?
You're never going to get a perfect ref. You just got to make the best of what the situation you're in and just play through it and play basketball. I love to play the sport, so I have no reason to complain.
You have a lot of schools looking at you, and, I mean, you're unsigned, you're here playing. What does this tournament mean for you?
It's just a way to put the spotlight on more of my teammates. I know I have a lot of offers. I can go wherever, but I want my guys to get some looks because they're really underrated, and I'm proud of them, and I just want to make sure they're as successful as I can be.
All right, thank you so much, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Just officiating in general, how do you think that's been throughout this whole tournament?
Man, I think the refs been making bad calls, but at the same time, you can't blame it on the refs because they're not the ones that's putting the jersey and the shoes on to come out here and play basketball. But, I mean, there's a whole lot of new rules, too, but we got it done, so that's all that matters.
Looking forward out of this tournament, you're already decided on where your next step is going to go. What are your goals before you reach that, get there?
You know, just get better every single day on and off the court, take care in state, win another state championship, and hopefully, you know, get to the McDonald's game or Jordan game or whatever it is off of my hard work. But if not, school's still being paid for because I'm a student athlete and I'm going to college next year. So I just want to give me a state championship first again, my 4th one.
Congratulations on your finish.
Thank you.
Wow. You know, that this isn't important or anything, but I know that you're 5'7.5", and they make you look tiny, really short.
I know. I'm looking up, and I'm like, what is going on? We actually didn't have it on there, but I did an interview on Monteverde. He's 7'4".
Wow.
And it wasn't even real life.
Yeah,
like I just couldn't even. I was just standing up there, and he almost had to like crank his head down just to talk to me.
Well, he better get used to it.
I know.
So I noticed Ben, he was the first interview there, the one that did the alley-oop off for himself and then got it in there. So he had mentioned that they hadn't played well. Is that because you were interviewing him after the very first game, that his team wasn't playing well, or?
Well, it's actually funny because I laughed. He said, we haven't played well yet, and he was going into the championship game. So, I mean, he'd had already played all these other games, so it just didn't make sense to me because I'm sitting here like, all of your game film looks like highlight reels. But I guess just everyone is held to a certain standard. I mean, their head coach, Kevin Boyle, he is the coach for the Nike Hoop Summit. So, I mean, he's been around it. He knows what he expects. And even when they are up by 20, he's down there tapping his foot and still wanting them to be the best they can be because he knows their potential and he doesn't want them to waste that by who they're playing.
So it's not really about winning, it's about playing your best and doing the best to your potential. That's great. And then the second interview that we saw, I think it was Jaelyn. Was that
Jaelyn Brown.
Okay, now he is really well known. I know that a lot of colleges were talking to him. Has he been signed?
He actually has it, and that's the interesting thing I see. You know, he's #2 in the nation. So he has Kansas, Georgia State, North Carolina, all these schools looking at him, and he's just holding out. And it kind of makes me think he's holding out because for his teammates. Like, he has all these big teams looking at him, might as well look at them and get them some recruiting too. So very humble, very helpful for his team, and he has a lot of faith in his team, and he should. I mean, he's a great player, great coach, good program, so I think they're going to go far.
It was really great to hear him say that he wants to highlight his team and let them be in the spotlight. So very mature young men. And then that third one, I believe it's Dejounte.
Yes.
I've heard he has signed. Do you have the insight on that?
Yes, he's from Seattle, and you know, Rainier Beach is out of Seattle, and he's actually going to UW. So he wanted to stay local, and it has a little bit of a story to it. I did some research on it, but he wanted to stay local because, you know, his family is a huge part of him, and it just really hurt him to see that his mom couldn't go to a lot of his games or just couldn't afford to travel and all that stuff. So it really meant a lot to him just to stay in Seattle, in his hometown, and kind of be that person and, you know, play for his city. So.
And he's really high up. He could go anywhere. That's really a
very
beautiful
versatile
story.
He can shoot, he can dunk, he can play defense. That's a really good pickup for UW, so I'm excited for them.
We're definitely going to want to follow all of those players, you know, over the next few seasons, really.
Of course.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what was your favorite takeaway from this tournament? I mean, it's a big tournament. You've got the best players in the country. What would you say? You
know, I've been going to the Les Schwab Invite since I can remember, but I've been going to it for a long time and always get something new out of it. But it was just great, the turnout, just seeing the different ages of people there, the coaches, players. We had some Blazers, some Raptors there. We just had a lot of people there, and it was really exciting just to see people excited about basketball, especially at this level.
It's a fun community, that's for sure. So next show, which will be, I think, the 28th?
January 28th.
That's right, 28th. We will be tell us, are we going to be talking a little bit more about basketball?
Yes, I want to highlight more of Peyton Pritchard, Anthony Mathis, those local players who did great in the Les Schwab Invitational. So local players, that's what we do, right?
Right.
And we have more time, and, you know, it's easy just to go around the corner to Westland or whatever, just to go over there and check out some more games. January 28th, we have our next show, and tune in for that.
Okay, sounds good. And also on the next show, we'll get into some other sports. I also just did a little segment on the Cato race up at Timberline, a huge race. In fact, I do have one little clip from the parents of a, I guess I'll say, a young girl who died 25 years ago. But the story is not so sad. It's a very inspirational story. I want you to hear about it in a few weeks. But here, we'll take a little clip from the parents who have put together a huge tournament that has brought together hundreds and hundreds of people to Timberline each year for the past 25 years. So let's take a look.
Being on the mountain was a family activity, and you know, it's been an activity since '52, and it's just something that I enjoy, the family enjoyed. I met a lot of people through Cascade Ski Club and the kids racing, and saw how much fun they had. And Christine wasn't the real competitive racer. She was over making friends with everybody.
It's a great couple.
I can't wait to see the rest of that.
It's a great story. I hope you all stay tuned for that, and definitely join us. I guess it's the 28th, January 28th. Want to get that date right?
Got a few weeks to get ready, put it in your calendar, but if you want to check out anything else, portlandsportsbeat.com, or get us on Twitter, PDX SportsBeat. Anything, just keep up with us. We'll keep up with you, staying local.
That's right. And if you have ideas of where you want us to cover, you know, a game, a high school game, any kind of game that you think you want to get coverage of, call us up, find us an email. We'll be there.
All right. Thanks for joining us.